Wow. So good afternoon. You guys can do better than that. I already know we've got some of our rural faith folks in the space. So call and response is a thing, right? You get so used to people talking at you that you forget how to talk back to people. So good afternoon. Thank you so much. As the voiceover so eloquently said, I am Gregory Hedgepeth, and I serve as the Communications Director for the Institute for Emerging Issues. But as a young man from Halifax County, North Carolina, I have to say how exciting and how humbled I am to be a part of the work that is being done through our ReCONNECT North Carolina series. IEI has been so grateful to all of the communities that we've been able to work with. More importantly, today, I have been tasked with the distinct pleasure of introducing 2 of 5 communities that embody what it means to provide technological opportunities for their people. In a moment, each team will spend about 5 minutes telling their story and the story of their work. As I mentioned, IEI has been doing this work and been in the communities around ReCONNECT North Carolina, providing them with resources like storytelling, civil dialogue, and collective impact training. We are mostly interested in soaking up lessons from their strategies, learning from their challenges, and addressing some of those future goals. As you listen to what they're doing, we also want you to hear what you're doing, what they're doing, and what you can do to help them and learn from them as well. We are going to start by hearing from 2 of these communities that are supporting digital inclusion. We will hear from the other 3 after lunch. So I am thrilled to introduce our first community, Laura Fogle, with Digital Durham.
Good afternoon. I am passionate about connecting students to technological opportunity. A few years ago, I was working in a school as the self-appointed technology cheerleader, encouraging people like Sharon to use digital tools in supporting students in teaching and learning. But I had it all wrong. I was in a particular classroom and I noticed a student who was, as they were working with an online essay editor, she was struggling with the English language while also trying to learn the finer points of the 5-paragraph essay. Maria was soft-spoken, but not as self-conscious as most 7th grade students are. She was bubbly and clearly wanted to please her teachers. And I imagined all the ways that this online essay editor could really help her improve her writing, her grammar, her word choice. So I was delighted when she stopped me in the hall. "Miss Fogle, I typed my essay online last night. Go Team Technology." Then Maria produced from her pocket a cell phone so cracked, I was afraid she was going to cut herself. How could she see the feedback that the system was giving her on that device that she was struggling to type on? And about 10% of the students in my school, that a cell phone was the only way they had access to the internet. And another 5% or more of the students in my school didn't have access to the internet at all. Dozens and dozens of students in my school, they didn't have the equipment to be on Team Technology. They didn't need a cheerleader cheering them and encouraging them from the sidelines. They needed an advocate. They needed someone who could remove the obstacles for them. So I began working with my colleagues and contacting local partners. And in 2016, we founded Digital Durham, a collaborative that brings together organizations working across our community to eliminate the technology opportunity gap. At one of our programs, I met Gloria. She has a son who's in the 7th grade, and she had heard from other parents that they were using online digital tools to help their kids and help themselves as parents navigate that terrifying world of middle school. But unfortunately for Gloria's family, a language barrier and lack of an internet-connected computer was holding them back. So Digital Durham was able to guide her through some parenting apps, some online academic resources and homework support, and we were able to provide her with a computer. When Gloria left the school that night, she had new connections to her son's teachers. She had a password that allowed her to check his progress reports, which is important. And she also had a renewed confidence that she had the resources she needed to guide him through middle school and beyond. Digital Durham's members have delivered dozens of digital literacy trainings like that throughout 2019, loaned out dozens of Wi-Fi hotspots, placed in the hands of students hundreds of internet-connected devices, and awarded to families over 1,000 refurbished desktops. But it's not enough. It is not nearly enough. A mere drop in the bucket. Across North Carolina, between 250,000 students and 500,000 students and their parents are impacted by the homework gap. I believe all of us working together can eliminate the homework gap in North Carolina. So every parent has the resources to support their child, and every student has the opportunity to succeed.
Thank you, Laura. Now please welcome Seth Ervin with the Charlotte Digital Inclusion Alliance.
Good afternoon. I'm the one thing standing in between you and lunch, so sorry about that. I'd like to share with everybody a memory, if I could. I still remember holding my youngest son in my arms. He was 6 days old. That same day, another man died, and the city I lived in exploded. Keith Lamont Scott's tragic death forced my city to confront itself in ways that it's not used to doing. It's a humbling experience to be forced to confront truths that come from deep wounds, from the undercurrents of history. It's a humbling experience to see your community seize in pain from those wounds, both immediately and from the past. Charlotte, as a city, as a place to live, as a community, is still trying to understand its many parts, its people, its history, and the environment it continues to build. This is a complex endeavor. There are so many goals, hopes, and dreams that surround my city that it often feels like there's not a compelling or unifying vision to make sense of it all. It's like we're all stumbling out of bed on January 2nd. We roll out hoping that this is the year that our best intentions and our best intentions will align with our actions. The only issue is we know that hopes and good intentions are not enough to affect real systemic change. We know this, and let's face it, the work we have cut out for us is huge. It's mammoth. We live in an unjust world. It can be consciously unjust, and sometimes it can be unconsciously unjust. It's a world barreling towards progress without thinking about who is being left behind. And progress at any cost always costs more than you think. It causes disparate divides in our society where everyone's just trying to have the same thing, where everybody is just trying to come together to live their best life. It's a land where the food line application is no longer available in paper, and it's a land where the urgent care line is hidden behind an internet connection. That's today. And let's face it, we can't afford many more of these barriers as they continue to stack up. The stakes are getting too high. That day, 4 years ago, I knew that the stakes were already too high. I want my kid to live in a world with less barriers, with a more humane and gentle system to address the inequities we have in our society, where our institutions work intentionally to remove the barriers that are coming before our citizens even get there. That's the kind of work I have the privilege to see at the Charlotte Digital Inclusion Alliance. It is a collective movement of organizations and public entities that seek to break down all the digital inclusion barriers we have in our city. The CDIA seeks to create pathways for every citizen to get the digital inclusion training that they need so they can fully participate in our community. The sum of all the partners that gather is truly greater than our parts. Our alliance is made up of several leading organizations, including 3 Charlotte universities, the public library, the school district, several nonprofits, as well as representatives from our city and county governments. We've developed a cross-organizational goal and a playbook to memorialize our intentions to confronting the digital divide. And every month we gather to discuss the work we're doing, to collaborate, and to focus our efforts where we can. The correlation of this coming together, of demonstrating that cross-organizational collaboration trumps competition, has been clearly seen in some of our impacts over the years. Just to rattle off a few things. Our library provides every student in our school system on day one a library account. There's nothing they have to do. They walk in, they have their account, and they have access to thousands of free and find free materials and resources. That came about because of this gathering. We were one of the first libraries and school systems that work like that in the country. Every month, Digital Charlotte and UNCC are delivering digital inclusion training at our Jail North facility, which is our local sheriff detention facility, where residents leave the facility not only with the knowledge of what it takes to be a digital citizen, but also with a computer provided by E2D, which is our local refurbishment partner. E2D, if I can brag about them for a little bit, they provide CMS students with the opportunity to learn how to refurbish these computers so that anyone in our community can have a low-cost device. It's really cool to see all these different opportunities in our community. And I think this goes to the point that this is not a question of resources. It's a question of will and determination. And my hope is that the CDIA will showcase how real systemic change can be accomplished in our city through intentional collaboration and leadership. As I think back on that tragic day 4 years ago, I can see myself holding my son. I can feel my mind buzzing with worry about the city I live in and about my kid's future. But if I could jump in a time machine, I would jump back to tell myself this: there's hope in showing up and sticking it out, for staying engaged and picking a problem and making a difference. I see this at the CDIA and the work that my colleagues get to do every day. And we keep showing up and we keep working at it. Barriers are broken down and small injustices are addressed, not through some comprehensive governmental program, although that would be nice, but through local organizations collaborating, sharing resources, and showing up. Seeing this gives me hope for our city and the future of all our children. Thanks for listening.